Oh, hey. Hello pals, in today's video we are going to learn how to burst as a Venthyr Rogue. Let's get right into the video. Alright pals, so in the video today we are going to be going over some of the new burst opening rotations playing as Venthyr. This video specifically, I'm not going to be going over too much of kind of how everything works with each other in terms of the conduit spec and all that. If you want to watch my last video, that will cover all of this. This video is basically just the actual rotations to do the most amount of burst. Okay, so right before I jump into the combos, something to remember is that these are going to vary based off of what you're fighting against. There are stun reductions in the game. So for example, if you're fighting an orc, the rotation might not work the same way. You might leave a stun gap. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. But anyways, we can jump right into it. Okay, so combo number one, this is going to be a basic cheap shot burst with Flagellation. In terms of Shadow Blades and Flagellation, these are kind of our big burst tools now. Shadow Blades, not so much for the damage it does, but mainly for the combo point generation. Stacking these two together can do some insane damage, but spacing them out, you'll still do plenty of damage. But anyways, this is kind of our all-in cheap shot burst. It's going to be a Cold Blood into a Shadow Blades. You're going to cheap shot, you're going to use Symbols, Badge, and Dance. You will Flagellation into a Shadow Strike, and then you're going to Eviscerate. Then you can do another cheap shot right before the stun ends, put one Shadow Strike into a third cheap shot. I know this sounds like a lot of information, so I'll go ahead and I will show you guys, and then I will break it down in slow motion. So here we go. Get the restun, Shadow Strike, restun one more time. Something else I want to point out before I do this in slow motion is the reason we're not using Mark for Death for burst, which is definitely something you can do, is because I've tried to base these burst openers around an arena scenario, and most times in arena you will be using Mark for Death for a kidney shot, whether that's on the kill target or just on an off target for CC. Alright, so the first one in slow motion, you're going to pre-pop Cold Blood and Shadow Blades, go into a cheap shot with your Dance, Badge, and Symbols, Flagellation into a Shadow Strike, you're going to Eviscerate, follow that with a re-cheap shot. You can fit one Shadow Strike into a third cheap shot, and you can follow that up with an Eviscerate. Alright guys, so for the next rotation, it's going to look very similar. It's another kind of all-in with both Flagellation and Shadow Blades. The big difference here is that we're going to be leading with Mark for Death into a kidney shot instead of the cheap shot, so it's going to change the rotation up a little bit. This time, it's going to be the same setup. We're going to pre-pop Cold Blood, we're going to pre-pop Shadow Blades. It's going to be a Mark for Death kidney. We're going to pop our macro that has Symbols, Shadow Dance, and Badge in it. We're going to Flagellation, Shadow Strike 2 times into an Eviscerate. We can Shadow Strike one more time into a cheap shot, and then your energy is going to be pretty starved. So what you do after the second cheap shot can kind of vary, but something to keep in mind, you will not be able to squeeze in that very last Shadow Strike if it's against an orc or something, so you'll need to just hold for like a second and a half and restunned. So here we go, I'll go ahead and show you this one now. Shadow Strike 2 times into an Eviscerate, Shadow Strike, cheap shot, and now we're really energy starved. So what you do here, you can either go for the Eviscerate, get more damage, or you can just hold your stuns and you can wait to do a third cheap shot. Either or, it's a very powerful rotation. You're going to get a lot of damage off. Okay, so on the next rotation, we're going to pre-pop Cold Blood and Shadow Blades again. Mark for Death Kidney into a Dance Symbols Badge. You're going to Flagellation, Shadow Strike 2 times in a row. Full combo points are going to Eviscerate. You can fit in one more Shadow Strike into a cheap shot. You're going to become very energy starved, so you can either go for a 5-point Eviscerate, or you can wait and restun your kill target. Okay guys, so for the next burst opener, this one's a little cheesy, but it's still a cool one I want to share. This one plays around Flagellation, but also I'm playing around some weird talents. So I'm kind of playing the one dance damage talents, Night Stalker and Dark Shadow, but I'm still keeping Mark for Death. And basically, this is like a 3 global one-shot. You can maybe cheese people like monks and rogues with this, but yeah, this is very, very strong. All you're going to do is you're going to start in stealth. You're going to, you don't need to use Shadow Blades at all on this one. You're basically going to Cold Blood, Cheap Shot. You're going to pop your macro, that's Symbols, Badge, and Dance. You're going to Flagellation into a Mark for Death Eviscerate. You can re-cheap out of that if you want. So I'll go ahead and I'll show you really quick. So it's like something like this. Mark for Death Eviscerate, and the damage kind of just overkills. This is one that does a lot of damage, but keep in mind, I am playing kind of an off-spec where I don't have 2 dances, so this one's a little bit less realistic. Still, some really crazy cool bursts that you can do. For the last one, we're just going to pre-pop Cold Blood, Cheap Shot into your Symbols Badge Trinket, Flagellation, Mark for Death Eviscerate. You can restun out of this, or you can follow with a Shadow Strike for more damage. Alright guys, so for the last burst rotation, this one's probably the craziest. I call this the double door kicker. So basically you're going to go behind your target, you're going to cheap shot, you need to Dora Shadows in front of them really quick, and then actually Dora Shadows on top of yourself. This will completely confuse them, and they'll probably just leave the game. This one does a little bit less damage, but it's very effective. Okay, pals, if you learned something new, please like the video and let me know in the comments down below. I would really appreciate it. Also, if you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing. It doesn't actually help me or really help any YouTuber to subscribe to their channel. As far as I'm aware, that doesn't really do anything in the algorithm. But it is really cool to get more subscribers, especially if I could ever get like the 100K little plaque thing in the future. That'd be super sweet. But yeah, without further ado, I'll be wrapping up the video. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will catch you in the next video.
Ah!